So to order, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them courage and wisdom to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Riska. Can we please have the roll call?
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Raski?
Here.
Ms. Kosky?
Present.
Mr. Radke?
Here.
Present.
Yes.
Here.
Present.
Thank you, Council. We need approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Kosky.
move to approve the agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First item on our agenda tonight is a report from our city manager, Mark Vanderpool. Mr. Vanderpool.
Thank you, Mayor. I have just a couple of brief items. First, a reminder that in observance of Veterans Day, city offices will be closed for business next Thursday, which is November 11th. Closures include City Hall, Public Library, Community Center, Senior Center, Nature Center, DPW, Recycling, and the 41A District Court. Normal hours will resume on Friday, and the closure will not affect the refuse collection schedule. And speaking of Veterans Day, the annual Veterans Day ceremony will be held on the same day, November 11th, at 11 a.m. At the Sterling Heights Community Center. The ceremony is co-sponsored by local veterans groups and is open to the public. So again, that's at 11 o'clock, and we encourage all of you to attend. And lastly, just a reminder, coming up this Saturday is our second Shine cleanup of the year. So obviously our fall cleanup, this is where we have volunteers go out and help those who are unable to do so clean up their yards, rake leaves, trim bushes, mow grass in some cases, and so on. It's a very rewarding program. We get about 75 volunteers that help out cleaning up 30 or so homes. It starts at 9:30 a.m. at First Church, which is at 39400 DeQuinder Road. We're always looking for volunteers, so if you have a couple of hours to spare this Saturday, please meet at the church at 9:30 a.m. And the city provides all the tools and all the supplies that are needed, and it's very well organized. Again, this Saturday, November 6th, 9:30 a.m. And Mayor, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Vanderpool. Next item on our agenda tonight is the consent agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on any item on tonight's consent agenda? If not, Council, we need a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Kosky.
move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is consideration item, and this is to consider appointments to the City of Sterling Heights boards and commissions. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? If not, Council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Schmidt.
for the Sustainability Commission, resolved to appoint Michael Tabbert to the Sustainability Commission to a term ending June 30th, 2022, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion, Mrs. Schmidt?
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I spoke with Mr. Tabbert last week, and he is extremely excited to serve on this board, and I think he will be a tremendous addition. So,
Thank you. Council, anyone else? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We also have an opening on the Citizens Advisory Committee, CDBG, City Council appointment. Is there anyone who wants to make that appointment?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
resolved to appoint Ben Arjada to the Citizens Advisory Committee, CDBG, to a term ending June 30th, 2022, since the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter subsection 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ben is actually here right now. He's sitting in the audience. He frequently comes to our meetings. He's asked to be on this committee. He asked it last year but didn't get his application in on time. I think he'd be a tremendous addition to the committee. He's a young person in the city who wants to make Sterling Heights better, and I'm all for having a lot of ideas in there. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Radke. I supported the motion. Ben, I appreciate your willingness to serve, and obviously you've been at most of our city council meetings, if not all of them, for the past however many months, I can't even remember. So thank you for your interest in the city and your willingness to serve the residents. Council, anyone else? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes that portion of our agenda tonight. We'll move on to communications from citizens. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on any item not on tonight's agenda? Mr. Horchata.
Council, I'd like to first congratulate you all on getting reelected. I am absolutely enthused to see all of your faces once again. I think you should take this as a clear mandate from the voters that we like what you're doing and we want to see more of it. And that goes for all of you. I'm genuinely quite happy to see you all again. I'd also like to thank you for this appointment to the committee. It truly means a lot, and I really do look forward to being of service in any way I can to the city of Sterling Heights. And that's honestly all I have tonight, so thank you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Anyone else under communications from citizens? If not, we'll close that portion. We'll go on to reports from city administration. Anything tonight, Mr. Vanderpool?
Nothing further, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Koszybski, anything for closed session?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Council, any reports or new business?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Yanez.
this is going to be every election event, but I do want to thank the clerk, Ms. Riska, and her team for another outstanding job of running the elections this year. Especially thank you to the volunteers and the people who came to work all the polls and the counting boards. And it's quite a process. I got quite the education during last presidential election on what it actually takes to run an election and actually get it right. So I know it's a long day. It's a lot of work. It's more than a day. It's a long period of time. It's a lot of work. They do a fantastic job. I just want to recognize our clerk and her staff and everyone who worked on the election and say thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Yanez. Council, anyone else? Going once, twice. Oh, sorry, Mrs. Zarowski.
I do have a voice, I'm sorry, I just didn't use my mouth. Yes, Mayor Taylor, thank you. So yes, I also want to echo Mr. Yanez's thanks and gratitude to the Mrs. Riska, the clerk, and her office. It was definitely a little bit different process than we had in the past, and it was unknown how that was going to go, and went very smoothly. Pleasantly surprised the votes and the results came in as early as they did, and we were anticipating a very late night, and it was not, so very much appreciate that. Also, thank you to the voters. Thank you for reelecting both myself and my colleagues. You never know how things are going to go. We do appreciate your support and as Mr. Ochata did state, your resounding reaffirmation of letting us know that we are doing what you want us to do. We will continue to strive to support you and represent all of the residents. Even those that may not have voted for us, we still represent you, and we want to make sure that if you don't like what we're doing, you tell us, and so that we can make it the way you would like it as best we can. To the challengers, we say thank you for your coming out and running. Every person that wants to should have a voice and try to represent what they would like to see our city be. And you make us better by running against us and giving us that maybe sometimes a little kick in the tail to let us know that we need to do things maybe a little differently, or we have a different view. So thank you to all of the challengers as well. Congratulations to my colleagues. I thank them and congratulate them and wish them all the best. And we look forward to a new 4 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Zarowski. Mr. Radke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to echo my colleagues. It is wonderful to have such a great clerk and an excellent staff. It was amazing to watch the election pull out yesterday or go through. And to have the results as early as we did, I was frankly surprised because the new process forced upon us by the county clerk, for whatever reason, we do not have partial results anymore. So we were all sitting there looking at a computer, desperate to see what happened. And the results finally came through. I want to thank the workers for showing up. I want to thank the voters for both voting at the polls and through absentee. Elections are changing here in Sterling Heights, and they're changing across the country. I think more people are comfortable voting from home. We saw it in the results last night that most folks chose to vote absentee. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think that we have a great team up here. The city is moving forward, it was a resounding mandate to keep moving the city forward. So I think we're all going to say our thank yous next week, but from the bottom of my heart, I'm very thankful for the voters, for all the workers yesterday, and just to get some sleep last night after maybe 24 hours of being awake. So thank you so much. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Schmidt.
Thank you. Echoes again to Ms. Riska and her department. To expound a little bit on what Mr. Yanis said, not only did her and her department and volunteers and poll workers and everyone else work yesterday, they also worked in August. This was a 2-election cycle, which none of us were used to, and quite frankly, kind of threw me for a loop. So it had to throw everyone for a loop because it just is not the norm of what we're used to. So they did an amazing job in the August election, and once again last night, and kudos to the whole team. And also thank you to all the voters out there that supported me and my colleagues. Look forward to the next 4 years of working together, not always agreeing, but being respectful and working together. And thank you again to all the residents that came out yesterday and mailed in their ballots. It's an important right that we all have, and I appreciate all of you coming out. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. Anyone else, council?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Zarko.
I just want to thank, I too want to thank our elections department and our clerk for everything that they've done. But more importantly, I think one of the best lessons that I received a year ago was witnessing how our ballots are processed. And if there was a way that we could do something to educate the community, you would understand that the fairness that goes into our elections, and that you would be able to answer questions about people saying that our elections aren't fair. So that is probably one of the best lessons that I've had in the last couple of years, is witnessing that process, and also being able to let people know that the elections in Sterling Heights are accurate. So I do want to thank everybody that voted yesterday. I do appreciate it. It's the day after the election, and one of my good friends, we probably remember him as state senator, is Mickey Swatowski. And he said, you've always had a successful election if the day after your family and your name are intact. And I think that's what I accomplished. So I feel that I had a very successful election, as well as the rest of my colleagues. So thank you all, and we'll see you next week for the swearing in.
Thank you, Mrs. Zarko. Mrs. Koski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also would like to thank the residents that came out to vote. Kind of a cold day, but you came out, voted, absentee votes. I'd also like to congratulate my colleagues here. I'm glad to see that our team is back together again. We've got 4 years ahead of us. We've got a lot of work to do, and I know that we're going to accomplish everything. I'd also like to reach out to the residents. We've got some pretty important projects coming up. Please, we are your voice, but to be your voice, you have to let us know what your thoughts are, what your desires are, what direction you would like to see us to go in. We're always open for new ideas, new suggestions, so please, please communicate with us. And again, congratulate my colleagues here, and I know we're going to have a good time working together. And of course, Ms. Riska, you have the very best election department ever that I have ever seen. And maybe someday I'll come back and be a poll worker again, but not just yet. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you to all the members of council for your comments, and my congratulations to you as well for a hard-earned victory at the polls yesterday and through the absentee ballots. I want to thank all the voters who voted. I also want to congratulate Mrs. Riska and her team on running an incredible election, and the work that you guys do is inspiring. It is, without a doubt, it's a process that's complicated and difficult, but I have utmost respect for what you do. And as I was going to say, without a doubt, every one of our residents can feel very safe that our elections are secure and conducted with integrity. So thank you for that. And again, thank you to all the voters who came out and voted. I will leave my comments at that for today. We will have a swearing-in ceremony a week from yesterday. So that will be Tuesday, November 10th at 6:30. Oh, sorry, Tuesday, today's the 3rd, yes. Tuesday, November 9th, 6:30 PM. So if you can make it, please do. So council, without anything else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported. With no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.